Evening tubers, this is King Grimlock back once again for another Grimgram, and first off, as ever, a little bit of housekeeping. First point is a big thank you to each and every one of you who have been firstly patient with me between these Grimgrams, and secondly for going over the reason why you've had to be patient for going over and supporting the Kapow Toys channel, where I'm also plying my trade nowadays. And you know, thanks for all your kind words, kind messages, and for viewing the videos that we're putting out over there, and being patient with me not churning out as regular on here. It will become more regular. It's just getting into the rhythm of it all, if you know what I mean. And for all of those who have come over here from over there, welcome to your first Grimgram, and it's a pleasure to have you. Secondly, a big thank you to all of those that have given myself and the Kapow Toys channel a shout out over the last couple of weeks. It's massively appreciated. You know who you are, and you will be repaid with beer. It's great. As I've said 100 times before, it's fantastic to have people say they enjoy your work. Then for someone to go on video and promote it is even more so. So each and every one of you guys, thank you. Anyway, that's a minute and a bit of housekeeping taken care of. Copyright King Grimlock, by the way. Let's go. Revenge of the Fallen. Bludgeon, Voyager Bludgeon. Now Bludgeon. Bludgeon, of course, is a G1 pretender who transformed from a skeletal warrior to a tank in his pretender shell. So what do we get instead? We get a gigantic tank, slightly floppy cannon, gigantic tank that transforms into a skeletal warrior. Yeah, it's the combination of the two. A pretender shell would have probably been a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Naff, that'll do. But what we get instead is this glorious tank. He's Voyager class, as you can tell from his size. He is quite large. He, in this mode, is nice to look at, but there isn't much to him. The turret turns a full 360. The little gun on top turns a full 360. The little gun, the missile pods on the side, and the slightly bent barrel are all made of soft plastic, so you can't go stabbing your little brothers, sisters, friend, neighbours, dogs eye out. On the underside, where we have all our robot kibble problems, very well done. They've actually hidden just about everything away. There is so little. Obviously, this quite large area in his tabard. But overall, everything's hidden away. You can just make out a little toe on either side. But where's his legs? Where's his arms? It's very well hidden. It's really well done. Do love the black con symbol on the side. It makes a nice change from the silver ones that the movie line normally has. The green works really well. I do love this olive finish to it. I'm not so sure about the orange down the sides. The orange is a little on the bright side of things. It works around the front. It would have been nice if these panels had been green maybe as well, but there's a reason why they are orange, as you'll see in the robot mode. But overall, it's a highly cohesive piece. Letdowns, obviously the slightly bendy rubber cannon. The fact that they've bothered with rubberized treads, solid plastic treads, so you do just have little wheels to make it. It's a shame, but you know, working treads never work with Transformers, especially when they have to be broken apart and put back together again. And these do need to be broken apart because it works so well how they've done it. But overall, it's a highly detailed Voyager. It's a Voyager that doesn't give too much away. It's a Voyager without a lot of gimmicks, which is quite rare. I can see why a lot of people would say this would be better suited in the Universe line. And you'll see why in his robot mode. And Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon in his rather chunky robot mode. Now that's the first thing you notice, is he isn't the lithe, sprightly samurai that you might remember from Generation 1. He has been depicted as a much more chunky samurai warrior with the bigger armour and everything detailed down into armour. All the treads picked out as armour parts, the tank areas. I mean, I love these treads going into almost chainmail armour on the sides. He is hampered a little bit by the amount of parts and the sort of the weight of the armour, as it were, just purely because he loses quite a range of his posability because of it, and feels very busy around the middle of him. What you do get, however, is some very nice detailing in the arms and in the legs as well, these areas here around the ankles where you get the skeletal detailing is a nice combination of the two. You do get the Generation 1 outer shell and the fact that he is still a tank, which was his in a robot mode. So it is a really nice combination, but as you can see, what I was saying before is that he doesn't really fit the movie verse. For a start, he actually has fingers and a thumb, he has legs and arms, he has feet, which aren't, generic Transformer feet, but he's a giant samurai skeleton. He isn't going to have generic feet. And the face is very reminiscent of something that you might find in the classic line. The head sculpt is actually supremely detailed with lovely bits of piping and wiring, and in the eyes themselves you have a second set of sockets. It sort of goes in deeper, so it looks like he's actually wearing a mask rather than having a skull. Unfortunately, it hasn't been picked out very well by the paint apps and is almost lost in there, but as it's the only part of the figure that is bone white, it does highlight it, and the red really pops from within it as well. It'd be nice if somebody had gone in and picked out the wiring in the cable. It would look more like the IDW Bludgeon, which is an awesome depiction of Bludgeon. Another big problem is the head doesn't seem to come out quite far enough, and his articulation is purely limited to a little bit of side to side, which isn't great when you're trying to get him into big samurai poses. On the whole, though, he is a thoroughly impressive display piece. Virtually kibbleless. Oh yes, he has got a giant great tank turret on his back. Or has he? Let's go cha-chunk. And from there you display his second sword. And it works as a scabbard for it as well. So even the kibble has a reason for existing, in a way. As a second sword. The swords are, of course, unfortunately, rubberized, so you can't kill yourself. But you do get two of them. Not quite the Drift 3, but two decent sized swords. The kibble's covered. The detailing in the arms gives you everything. The hands I'm not a big fan of. They are slightly sloped, so everything is, when you hold it, it sort of goes off at a slight angle. It is a pity. The head mould could have had that bit more articulation, and he is a bit chunky, he is a bit limited, but you know what? None of that actually matters to me, because this strikes me as a fantastic looking toy. And I think that's the most important thing to think, actually, is that he is just a beautiful looking piece. The colour scheme works really well in this mode. The orange works very well with the black and the green, and the little areas of grey that pick out the quote-unquote skeletal parts maybe could have been done with paint with the bone, but then you'd lose the bone in the face. It's a difficult one, but you know what? It works. Everything works. The detailing, the mould detailing is impressive. The legs especially, if you can see all the cogs sculpted in, and yeah, that area actually moves itself. The articulation is quite good as well. Oh, no I didn't. Yes I did. No I didn't. Didn't forget to fold out that panel. My bad, thinking of a different toy. The articulation, good at the hip, the knee, the ankle, wrist. Is only in and out. Elbow, joint at the shoulder and at the top as well. So it's well articulated. There is no waist articulation. And when you look at it, it would be near and impossible as well due to the nature of the transformation. Just lifted up a samurai skirt. I'm going to get myself killed. Would I recommend him? Without a doubt. I mean, I think he's one of the top Transformers of this year. If it hadn't been for the fact that I've got my hands on a few others recently, then you know what? He would probably still be my top Transformer of the year. He's never going to get released in this country, UK people, but he will be re-released as Banzai-tron, different paint scheme, which looks okay. Not Banzai-tron to me personally, but he will get a release. This mould will get released. I personally would try and hunt down this guy. Try and pick one of these up. They're not that expensive on the secondary market. On the import market now. You're not paying that much more than a retail for a Voyager anyway. Or pick one up at your local convention, auto assembly, where they will be sold by a few people, I imagine. Anyway, this is King Grimlock saying thanks for putting up with me and for waiting for me, guys. I hope you do like the new sheet of names. You're all on there. I have some space for more.